Warpcore was born out of spite. I wanted to just beat them.
Right.
I had no interest in music. The boys had the code that we'll only invite those people who know this music. Otherwise,
Right.
even if they are friends, they can't come. Delhi has never seen a Halloween party like that. And that to me is still the greatest Warpcore party we have thrown. I had basically made myself broke by doing that party. तो मेरा तो मूड ही मैं बोला ये क्या है मेरी बेसमेंट पार्टी के लिए अवार्ड क्यों मिल रहा है मुझे द मोर यू इंटरेक्ट विद पीपल इन द म्यूजिक सीन द मोर आई डिसलाइक देम सो स्टार्टिंग इवेंट्स इज लाइक liking to have glass every day because you're going to get cut from inside bit by bit. My request to everyone is get a GST and invoice every damn thing. Next year we are going to turn 10.
Yeah.
I want to probably like turn 10, end it on a high and retire.
Yeah. Hello everyone and welcome to another episode of Track Talk with Sodhi, where we dive into the heartbeats of the Indian music scene with raw stories, no filters and real vibes. But today we have someone who can break both tech specs and dance floors. As a journalist and the founder of Warpcore, he has shaped conversations in two absolutely different worlds. We have Sahil Mohan Gupta with us, aka Bones. Sahil, thank you so much for coming.
Cheers,
Thanks a lot for being a guest on the show, man. It really means a lot. I know, we've known each other for quite a while now. And
over 10 years?
Over 10 years,
Yes.
yeah. And I have seen so many things happening in the world of music through you and through Warpcore. And I really wanted to understand more about Sahil Mohan Gupta. It's not just about Warpcore, it's not just about journalism, but it's more about understanding where you come from and how you decided to start so many things and handle so many things at the same time. I know you come from a family of journalists, right?
Yeah.
I remember you telling me that you wanted to be a music journalist. So I really wanted to understand why did you not go with it? What made you go towards technology?
Why I did not end up becoming a music journalist is quite simple. I went to Bombay. I wanted to be part of Rolling Stone magazine, and I went there for an internship, checked out their office, but like for that entire thing I had gone to Bombay and I'm like, I do not like this city and I do not like this office. This is not my cup of tea. So I came back and I'm like, what's the next best thing I like? And I'm like, of course I love tech. Since childhood was into video games. Of course, huge science fiction nerd. Star Trek has been a huge part of my life. In fact, the name Warpcore also comes out of Star Trek. In fact, my nickname Bones also comes out of Star Trek. So I used to watch this show on NDTV called Gadget Guru.
Right.
With Rajiv Makni and Vikram Chandra. It just so happened that I ended up, my first job was working on that show and as a part of their plans to take the entire thing online as well. So that's how. And since then I never looked back. But like there was always this thing with music which was unfinished business. So I think like 6 or 7 years into my career, I just one day, like it happened quite incidentally. It wasn't planned or anything like that. It was just that I had this huge space. A lot of my friends knew that I have this space and it would get opened up, like say if it was birthday party, it was like a Diwali party or New Year's or something like that. So they were like, let's do a party at your place, but we'll do it differently. We'll like structure it like a gig. Back in the day, people would be like at house parties. People would be fighting over what song to play, and everyone is like, those days you would have an iPod, right? So people are fighting over कौन सा गाना बजेगा, like एक ने play किया फिर वो निकाल रहा है cable उसमें से, and all of that nonsense is going on. And so I believe you know Nishit, and
of course.
So it was like he was one of the characters in this story. He was like, nahin, we are going to do this. And it just happened that I have a house in Gurgaon as well. So I'm like, okay, you guys want to throw a party? Let's do it in the Gurgaon house, away from my parents and all of that. No, we don't want to come to Gurgaon. Nobody wants to cross the border and all of that nonsense. So we want to do it in your Delhi house only. And after a lot of back and forth, eventually I broke and I'm like, okay, let's do it here. And I would still say, and that wasn't Warpcore, by the way, we used to call it Delhi Underfound.
Yeah.
And I still remember that first party, I think it was 23rd March 2015 or 22nd March, something like that. I remember it was Tonsana's birthday. So Delhi Underfound was a bunch of us. It was me, Nishit, Laksh Khanna, Tonsana, Sukesh Tyagi, Nipun Bhalla, and Rahul Gulati. So it was all of us doing it together. And I was basically the venue. I was the venue guy. They organized everything. Very honestly, I wasn't really into electronic music. I still am not.
Right.
A lot of people think that I love electronic music, but that was more of a thing that I have to do this. So I have to learn everything very quickly. And it happened because of that. It didn't happen because I loved electronic music. And so we did a couple of these gigs in my infamous basement. and then what happens is that when friends do things together and then you have differences on how to go about things, and I was disagreeing with them on a lot of things, and I basically decided to do it my way. I wanted a bigger say in how things were done actually. They felt that I did not know anything about this kind of music, which they were kind of right. At that point I didn't. So what had happened was that we had done 3 parties, and then me and Nishit, we actually went on a Euro trip. We went to Spain to attend Sonar.
Okay.
So Sonar by day and Sonar by night. We saw the Chemical Brothers live.
Wow.
Saw Lauren Garnier, Hot Chip, Duran Duran, Skrillex, lots of acts.
Yeah.
Like I've ended up booking some of those acts over the years. I think like the moment I saw Chemical Brothers in that huge hall in Fira in Barcelona, I mean, it was a bit of a life-changing experience. The way the visuals come, and like they started their set with Hey Boy, Hey Girl. I remember that quite vividly. It was like a moment. And I'm like I came back thinking that I have to do something about this. I remember I wrote an article. I used to work at India Today at that time, and India Today had gotten my press accreditation done for Sonar, so that I could actually cover it as well. So I covered it, and I wrote an article about my Chemical Brothers experience. By that time, we had left Barcelona. We were in Ibiza, so we were like, I would probably say this is the last true holiday I've taken. Since then I've actually not taken a holiday. And I wrote that article. Chemical Brothers retweeted my article also. Then I'm like all on a different level altogether. I came back. I remember at that point I had not decided to separate from Delhi Underfound. When we started doing the parties in the basement, was like glorified storeroom for my house. It was basically that. So it wasn't like equipped to handle like a big sound system. The windows would start blaring. There were no washrooms. So before I'd gone, I'd hired an architect, and I just told him to break it down and I'd like to create this structure. And it was actually done for Delhi Underfound, but on that trip there were a lot of differences. And when I came back, remember I'd gone for a friend's wedding party, and a lot of school friends of mine, they like basically harangued me there. They're like, you don't seem to invite us for your Delhi Underfound parties, because the boys had the code that we'll only invite those people who know this music, otherwise even if they are friends, they can't come. Which was a big sticking point for me, because it was my house, so I would be the guy who would, like, my friends are like telling me what the hell. So exactly. So yeah. So I remember we were at this place, GK1 M Block Market, called Zootish. It was a burger place. And it was me, Salim Bhatt, boss, Bo Pachpan, boss of Own Age, whatever he likes to call himself. So we, like, a lot of us were there. Rahul Gulati was there, and we were just having these conversations how we'll do this together. And I basically mobilized everyone who would be on my side. So some of the people split from Delhi Underfound and joined me. And we are going to do this on our own. And I do have a penchant for throwing parties on dry days. So I was like, we'll do it on 15 August.
Right, of course.
So, the easiest day, na, chutti ka din hai, so everyone will come also. It's like, for me also, next day is not work, and you know,
Right,
for
of
that
course,
way it was
yeah.
like, just convenient. At that time, it was just a house party, so.
Yeah.
So, yeah, that's how we started. And like, the funny thing about that Sonar trip is, like, at that Sonar trip, me and Nishit fought. So we were like with us, Ruhi Batra was also there,
Right.
who works a lot, collaborates a lot with Wild City, particularly for magnetic fields.
Yeah.
Not Wild City, but for magnetic fields. So me and Nishit fought on that trip because like there was this like bubbling tension between us, and it was Nishit's birthday, I think end of June, 28th or 29th June, whatever. So 30th also.
Right.
Please don't kill me. Anyways, I forgot your birthday, Nishit. So this year also I forgot it. So
Yeah.
so we are just preparing to, like, Rui had basically made us talk to each other because like after we left Barcelona, in Ibiza I decided that मैं ये थोड़ा अलग से करूँगा. And after Ibiza we were in Sevilla and Valencia and ended up in Madrid. So through Sevilla, me and Nishit weren't speaking to each other. Like we were like,
Right.
fuck you.
Right.
Like it was that kind of thing. And then Rui, and by that time her sister Akriti had also joined. So basically the girls basically made me कि उसका बर्थडे आ रहा है, आज तो बात कर ले, ट्रिप पे आया हुआ है, इकट्ठे सेम घर में Airbnb में रह रहे हैं इकट्ठे. So now we are preparing to go out for Nishit's grand birthday party, and both of us are looking at our phones. That time, by the way, we were looking at Facebook, not Instagram.
Yeah.
And we see Esther post a photo with this Firang guy. And like, I'm looking at Nishit and Nishit is looking at me. And this is obviously Esther was Summer House. This is at Summer House and it was a Wednesday night.
Yeah.
And both of us are looking at each other. We're like, पहचाना वो बंदा लग रहा है, कौन है? This is someone famous. Turns out it is Chris Martin.
Oh, right.
So-
मेरे को याद है ये.
So I'm like, through the month, we were giving everyone in Delhi FOMO. आज Chemical Brothers हो रहा है, आज ये हो रहा है, and उधर the one day I'm not there, and then suddenly I'm getting calls from my office because like in everyone in the India Today office knew like Sahil पूरे time Summer House में
Right,
पड़े रहते
होता है,
हैं.
हाँ.
तो क्रिस मार्टिन उधर आया है, तो वहाँ से फोटोज वगैरह चाहिए. And Nishan Jham was the photographer. And I'm like messaging Jham from there. I'm like, dude, photos चाहिए. And I still remember India Today की website पे वो Jham की photo ही गई हुई है when they covered the entire Chris Martin thing. And the funny thing is he had come to shoot a Holi song, and I believe Vishal Dadlani had called, I think Ricky, I'm assuming, and Ricky also didn't know that Chris Martin is actually coming. And on those days, like at that time, on the Wednesday, Sound and the City, Akash Moitra used to curate a live night there. So I'm assuming लोगों ने उसको गिटार पकड़ा दिया, तो obviously he did his Fix You and all of that impromptu gig. And since then, Summer House has become something else. And I truly believe, like, love Summer House, it's still around. But like, if you take that away from it, maybe things would have been different for it. So came back, started Warpcore, and then fundamentally what happened was I am a very competitive guy, and like it turned into a fight with the Delhi Underfound boys.
I remember.
And we had a bit of a agreement between me and Laksh that they will not do the parties, and then now I'm going to do it. We had a bit of an agreement. They decided to break the agreement. I'm like, okay, let's go. So Warpcore was born out of spite. I wanted to just beat them. I had no interest in music.
Right.
There was no interest in music. And the first year was all about beating them, and no matter how, I have to just beat them. Like I would do all kinds of fucked up shit. I'm like, I will just throw a party on the same day. मेरे को पता है मेरे तो घर पे सब कुछ है ना. मैं समर हाउस में बैठे हैं, कॉल लगा, आ जाओ सब, खोल दिया एकदम से. randomly.
सही बात.
And like आधे लोग जो उधर जा रहे होंगे, now people have a choice. They can go here.
Right.
So and they had to pay a lot of rent
Of
for
course.
the new place.
Right.
For me, it was rent free always,
course.
right? So yeah, like first year was all about that. But you know, like I think we did like 3 parties. August में एक party किया था, फिर September में I think we did 2 parties. We did 1 party for Friendicos to raise some money because
Yeah.
Friendicos always seems to be running out of money. And I'm a dog lover, so I'm
Right.
like, okay, let's do something for Friendicos also. By the 4th party, 4th one was going to be Halloween. So I had reached out to Akshay Bhalla. So Akshay and I had socially known each other. And the funny thing is, me and Akshay did not get off on the right note.
Okay.
Akshay is a bit of a know-it-all vibe, and like that initially that would cause a bit of a I would say bumbling tension or whatever.
Huh.
And yeah, so we like there was no fight, nothing. We were very cordial with you.
Right.
कोई झगड़ा वैसा कुछ नहीं था. But like I would feel there was a
Yeah.
tension in the relationship. Anyway, so like when I'm doing this Halloween party, so I reached out to him, would you play? He's like, cool, I'm down for it. And when that Halloween party, I can tell you that Delhi has never seen a Halloween party like that. And that to me is still the greatest Warpcore party we have thrown.
That was I was going to ask
Yeah.
that because I was there at that
Yeah.
Halloween party. I remember.
Yeah. And there are a lot of firsts and a lot of things that happened only that party. And so what happened was that Akshay comes, and like at that time, you know, Bhane used to do their haunted house wala thing
Right.
also. So like that used to be the it party. So people who couldn't get into Bhane, and then like our crowd, like my friends
Yeah.
also, so they were always going to come here. So they came. And Akshay comes, he came with his own crew. He didn't know me that well also. So he comes and he's like, whoa, what the hell? Has a ball of a time. Akshay's set is about to come to a close, and the light goes. So the
Oh.
basement didn't have any power backup.
Right.
Okay. But it only like, and this is like his set was coming to an end at like probably 12:45, 12:50 types. So probably 1 o'clock, Nishit
Right.
was supposed to start. So now Akshay's set is cut short because the light is gone. And Nishit, he decides to start his set the moment the light came back,
Right.
Pardesi. And like हम लोग ऐसे कर रहे यार इसने परदेसी प्ले कर दिया क्यों उसको पार्टी करानी. He had some house mix of Pardesi, and like but the entire party was in raptures and everyone had dressed. Everyone. मतलब कि
Right.
कोई ऐसा था ही नहीं जो ड्रेस करके नहीं आया था. I remember like I was wearing this I had gone to great pains to find this blue Nike sweatshirt. Then I got it embroidered by this tailor. उसमें वो Star Trek का वो emblem बना दिया, and
Oh,
back
wow.
में Bones
Right.
लिखा हुआ है. Because that's like Bones comes from, and Star Trek, you have got Captain Kirk, you have got Spock, the pointy ear guy,
Right.
and then you have got Dr. McCoy. His name is Bones.
Okay.
So I was basically wearing the Bones uniform.
Yeah.
And then Nishank was there. Nishank had this huge head, so he was basically like Dead Mouse.
Right.
Dead Mouse. I mean, like Hemant Chotani was playing in that party as well.
Right.
Like huge as big. Like we used to make these after movies, but I was so paranoid about it, like, and correctly so as well. We would never put any content on YouTube.
Yeah.
We would put all the content on Vimeo.
Oh.
Yeah. So all those videos are on Vimeo.
Oh, right. Why? I never thought कि वो videos ऐसे कहीं upload हो रही है या because there was not a lot of marketing there.
Vimeo पे जाता था.
ना उस time पे नहीं
It
था.
wasn't meant for marketing.
Exactly.
We were like, we didn't want to tell people we are
It's
doing.
an underground scene.
We
at
had
the
a
end of it.
Facebook group, and through that we started gaining recognition because after a point, after I think we did 5-6 parties, now Akshay had such a great experience, so he called me after that party. He's like, if you need help getting artists and all, get me involved and I'll help you. At that time, I wasn't that close friends with him and all. So I'm like, okay, let's talk. We were also we were able to get things done on our own also. I remember party after that one, we had Agent and Anushka playing.
Right.
Then we threw a Christmas party, and that Christmas party, probably the most lavish setup I've ever done in the basement. There were LED walls, there were like
Right. I remember.
DNB sound system and all
Yeah.
of that. And I had basically made myself broke by doing that party. I would have, at that time, I would have probably spent like 2 lakhs to just throw that party. So,
All
literally.
expense. Yeah.
And then Akshay is like I think 5 or 6 days later, he's like, oh, by the way, Tuhin Mehta is coming to Delhi. Do you want to do something with him in the basement? I'm like, I would really love to do it, but I'm broke.
Yeah.
How should we make this work? Like, I'm like just trying to think. So he was playing at Backyard. So Backyard is what turned into Rasta
Right.
in Green Park, and now it's Kamli.
It's something
Something like
Combi or
whatever.
something.
Whatever. So then I told Akshay ki I cannot do the lavish setup. So then I called Bachitar Singh,
Right.
who was at Bunty, yeah, and he sorted the sound for me, cheap sound.
Right.
15,000 रुपए में उस time पे मिल गई थी, and CD players and all, we got everything. So we did a very small party, but for that gig we also managed to get the Wood Fire Pizza Company on board.
Right.
So one of my colleagues at India Today, Jairaj Singh, who was the editor of Daily O, now he's at Times. I think he's in Bombay. I forgot which. Sorry, Jairaj. But he's a big shot editor.
Yeah.
I think one of the weeklies. So Jerry basically, and Jerry is Uday Raj Singh's elder brother. Uday is Guy Velvet.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
So Jerry and me, we were like chilling at Gymkhana Club, and he was like, dude, this is my friend. He's doing these wood fire pizzas for Gymkhana Club. If you want to do something, like maybe for one of your parties, they can set up a thing, you can set up a stall and people can pay and all. And so they created that, that
Yeah.
lavish pizza stall. So that was the first ever party we had that. But because Tuhin played and Akshay got Tuhin to play, that was probably the first party a lot of industry people started coming.
Right.
That's when we started getting a bit of like, it was starting to become a legend, like, okay, Dev Bhatia is coming, Munbir. I think that was
Yeah.
the only time Munbir has ever come to a Warpcore party.
Hmm.
So that kind of thing started happening. And yeah, now once Akshay is involved, then now it's like I've got a list of our acts, checkbox, check. No. Second, next thing we did was, because Akshay was very good friends with Madhav, so we did Cora B2B Shift.
Right.
So they did a 4.5 hour set.
Wow.
Yeah. That was in Feb 2016.
But this was still at the basement, right?
Yeah, all of
Right.
this was
Yeah,
in
yeah.
basement. We had probably done 1 or 2 parties outside. Like we had done one at Def Call Social.
Right.
We had done one at Eye Candy in Gurgaon.
Yeah.
But that was just like, the intent was that whatever we are spending in the basement, so we can recover some of it.
Absolutely.
That was the intent. And by that time, I had started developing my own taste on electronic music, and I kind of figured that like I like a lot.
Right. Yeah.
And then like it was an obsession to get him on board. And I remember कितने पापड़
Bailing उसके लिए.
कितने पापड़ बेले उसको, and end में he got convinced, and once he was on board, then he was on board.
Yeah.
and obviously over time me and Gaurav have become very good friends as well. I remember, so we started with Tuhin early, like in Jan 2016, and November 2016, which was also my birthday party.
Yeah.
So we did Blot. So, and that was done in a very unique way. Because by this time, by 2016, Rohit Damija had come on board, Warpcore, Nishant Rajvaidya had joined.
Right.
Some people had left, Nipun had left by then. I think Salim had just kind of, because Akshay was doing so much of the programming, Salim like himself took a back step. By the time Delhi Underfun was pretty much done and dusted.
Yeah.
So like I'm like one of those guys, I'm like a bull who needs that red rag.
Yeah.
So What's my next red rag?
Yeah.
So it was Blot then. So I remember we had closed him for October, but there was a kind of an agreement that Duelist is going to play, which did not happen
Right.
for different reasons. I would not go into that.
Yeah.
But I mean, like, lot has been spoken about that also. So because Duelist was locked for October, so I told Akshay convince him for November. And I think Akshay kind of convinced Gaurav at Go Madras, because by that time Madhav had played, Jayant Jitta had played, Ash Roy had played, Ashwin had played, Shift had played. Like, basically at that time almost the entirety of Unmute had played.
Right.
So he was probably the only one that was left. So like, screw it, I'll do it. And at that time, Gaurav was in a process of leaving Unmute and he was joining OML.
Oh, okay.
So we basically decided everything about the gig at EDC.
Right.
And was very interesting. And then we were very particular about our creatives, because by 2016, Dhamija had joined, so Dhamija was making the creatives. And obviously, we used to work with this guy called Sparsh Seth.
Yeah.
So he used to do our creatives. Likes to call himself co-founder of Warpcore, which he's not. But
Right.
but yeah, he used to make creatives for us.
Yeah.
And really nice one also.
Right.
So, and he was helping around for sure. He did that.
Yeah.
So, we were like kind of in a space with Sparsh where like it wasn't really working out. So, and nobody had the heart to tell him that like this is not working out. And so, but we were very particular that हम लोग खुद creatives बनाएंगे. And by that time, Dhamija had already come on board, but he wasn't making the creatives at that time. So now when we are talking to Gaurav is like, I will make the creative. I'm like, this solves my problem.
Of course. Why not?
I'll-
Bhai, kar de.
Take it and go.
Yeah.
So I remember the creative was basically a chessboard. So basically it was a Alice in Wonderland themed party. And we were going down the rabbit hole into the basement.
Yeah.
And we called the party Wonderland. And man, again, that was also... So that's where this idea of thematic parties started. Like, we had the Halloween. So then I knew that themes work for us. Like, it can't be just any party. Like, everyone throws a party.
Exactly.
You can go to any warehouse. It has to be...
Or
Yeah.
crowd and colors.
Yeah, so for Gaurav, we got a TW audio sound system from Dipankar. Dipankar had sent a brand new system that he had not even opened. So uska unboxing bhi wahi ho raha tha. But the thing is, when you unbox a brand new sound system, it's not broken in, it's not tuned. So it was
Right.
causing all kinds of problems.
Oops. Right.
He had to call someone in Germany to like figure
Things
stuff out,
yeah,
like
yeah.
raat mein.
Yeah.
And because of that, so there were like basically 3 acts on the bill. It was Blot, Film and Monkey.
Right.
Poor Monkey's set
Yeah.
got cut because of it, and he was very pissy about it. And he
Oh.
was super pissy handling the gate then.
Right.
Already uska set cut
Of
gaya hai, ab wo
course.
gate ka.
Gate pe
He's
संभाल रहा है.
nemesis enforcer out there,
Yeah,
so he's
yeah.
being very angry at everyone anyways. But you know, I don't know what happened. Maybe it was a combination of the fact that it was my birthday and Blot, and then this really cool theme party and nothing really happening at Delhi. Dude, I mean, 1,200 people landed up.
Oh my God.
I'm like, I never want to go through that again. It's
Right.
very cool that I can talk about this right now, but we got away with it.
Right.
But we did not expect it as well. We thought like aa jayenge 500-600 log aa jayenge, but like it was 2x. Like my garden was full. Like people were literally trying to jump into my
Oh.
premises.
Wow.
And like Akshay was like standing at the gate and he's like almost like a defender in basketball, like
Yeah.
like this.
वापस जा भाई.
Yeah, exactly like that.
Hmm.
So that happened, and like I was so sad because I was managing the crowd half of the time.
Yeah.
And Blot was playing and I barely could hear a lot of songs. I'm like, I've been waiting for this and now that too on my birthday and मैं ये manage कर. And like I remember मैंने कुछ बाहर भसड़ clear करके मैं अंदर आया तो पता चला 4:30 बजे music बंद कर रहे. Gaurav has personally taken a call like this is getting out of control.
Right.
Because just you couldn't move an inch.
Yeah.
And I do remember I became friends with Karthik Shekhar that night because I had gone behind console. And Gaurav had invited Karthik. He was visiting from Hyderabad. I didn't know who he was, of course. So मैं console के पीछे गया. So Karthik is being protective about him. I'm like, तू कौन है? I'm like, मैं बोला, तू कौन है?
Yeah.
And Gaurav was like, अरे. So yeah, and then we became friends. So, and I remember we shut it at 4:35 in the morning, and I woke up very disappointed. I called Rui. Like, she's like कि आजा कर. Like वो मेरे को डांटने के लिए. I drove all the way to Mehroli where she used to stay.
Yeah.
While I was on the वो कुतुब मीनार वाला light है ना, जो like सीधा जाओगे तो.
No. So you enter Mehroli.
Like I had to take the left from the petrol pump.
Right.
I was there at the petrol pump, like petrol pump वाली light पे, and suddenly my Facebook pops, and I remember this quite vividly. Gaurav Plot had a post. Delhi, you are really the best city to play for. You dressed the part and showed up. It takes a heart of gold and balls of steel to pull off this.
Absolutely, yeah.
And then I'm like, then calm down a bit. I'm like, okay, he liked it. Yeah. So
I mean, 1,200 people turning up for a gig who won't like it. It's just
it was.
Managing it has become a
like
challenge.
उस दिन I believe bandstand में bandstand which used to be right next to summer house.
जो mango बन गया था बाद में.
Yeah, जो mango बन गया था. तो उधर Anki Tricks play कर रहा था for a Budweiser party. वो party खाली थी. So now वो सारा there was a crew, friends of mine only, Kabir Singh and all of these guys. So they all came. मेरा birthday भी था. Anki also came. Anki wanted to go play. Like वो अपनी पेन ड्राइव वहाँ तो खाली गया था. हाँ, so I remember there was this moment अक्षय like उसको हटाया उसने, उसको बोला कि ऐसा नहीं है कि तू ऐसे आके प्ले कर सकता है. Yeah, we are very particular about कि like ये set announce हो गया. This is not like a freewheeling thing.
Of course. Yeah.
So yeah.
Gigs तो ऐसे ही होते हैं. Like you gotta be planned.
अब वो क्योंकि वो scene इतना बड़ा हो गया, so now it reached a point where like even Ricky started saying to me, like we were also looking for gigs. ऐसा नहीं कि he came to us. I was trying to reduce my costs. Simple as that.
Absolutely.
I wasn't really interested in like artist management or like I was just like every intent was कि यहाँ आके play करो. मेरे को बाहर से कोई लेना देना नहीं है. So we started getting gigs. So I remember at Bandstand we used to do a Wednesday party called Transform.
Right.
And now like there's no like transgender thing happening here. Transwarp is a form of propulsion in Star Trek.
Right.
Warpcore is the engine. Then that's warp speed. Then there's transwarp. There's quantum slipstream. So I had names of all the forms of propulsion would be a party.
Right. तुम्हारा artwork मेरे को हमेशा से your artwork also translated that really well, I think.
Yeah, I think it started translating it better when the Dhamija started getting on board. While Sparsh did well, but there was no consistent design language to it.
Got it.
Like every party would be a design in its own.
Right.
But when Dhamija came, then there was pure identity to it.
Absolutely.
And then when Dhamija came on board, we also became a little assholic, for lack of a better word, about who we were. We kind of started owning it.
Right.
And I remember Sanil calling me in, I think, January 2017. I think he was leaving Unmute at that time. And Arjun Wagle was going to be playing at Summer House with Ramiro Lopez.
Right.
Arjun had just started Odd with Ramiro Lopez. So they wanted to do something cool with Ramiro in the basement. And I was off to Barcelona because I'm a tech journalist, so there's this conference that happens. It's called Mobile World Congress, and ironically, MWC happens in the same convention center where Sonar happens. Oh, wow. So I had been there before for Sonar. उधर ही phones launch भी हुआ same जगह पे. मैं वहाँ से उसके साथ coordinate कर रहा हूँ, and basically झगड़ा हो रहा है over the artwork. Artwork में they wanted to call it an odd party or like I don't exactly remember. बट बेसिकली वी वर लाइक कि हम किसी को ब्रांडिंग नहीं देने वाले. ये हम लोग क्रिएटिव बनाएंगे, बस ऐसे जाएगा, वरना नहीं करना तो छोड़ दो, नहीं कैंसिल, कोई प्रॉब्लम. या दे बकल्ड इवेंचुअली, एंड बिकॉज़ like for us nothing was on stake. Like क्या होगा, ज़्यादा से ज़्यादा नहीं प्ले करेगा.
Yeah.
लेकिन ऐसे तो नहीं है, मैंने एडवांस दिया हुआ है. ऐसे तो नहीं है कि मैं पैसे बनाने वाला हूँ उस गिग से. मैं तो नुकसान ही होना है मेरा.
हाँ. So, like, I mean, you've seen the whole idea of personally throwing parties at the basement, privately, underground scenes, and you understood the economics of it. And then you went to the venues.
Learned,
of course. You had to acquire and learn all those economics but through a lot of hard ways, right? Like, and I'm definitely sure, like, $2 lakh rupees is not easy for any organizer to just kind of shed out and host a party just because they're hosting a party and an event. But how did it translate to when you went to the venue end of things? When venues were like, okay, Warpcore, hamare venue le aao, gather some people.
Couple of things that happened. Firstly, I mean, Warpcore wouldn't be possible if I didn't have my day job.
Right.
So my day job has given me everything. Okay. And of course, my parents, particularly my mom, supported by my dad, really, he doesn't care about it. But mom at that time knew that like I was very hurt with what happened with Delhi Underfound. So like she fully supported. Like मेरे पास पैसे वो दे देती थी. She would be paying for all the mixers that would come, and like we would hire fans, or like she would pay for it. I would basically pay for the sound. I was paying for the sound, so like basically we were co-funded by my mom and me. When that happened, things became obviously easier for me. But when we started doing the parties, what happened was that we started chewing into the crowd of the venues. This दिन Warpcore की party हो जाएगी, उस दिन summer house खाली चला जाएगा. खाली नहीं जाएगा तो उनकी sale को तो basically in my core friend circle, they are the heavy drinkers. So they are the heavy spenders.
Right.
So like my core friend circle, they are not the type of people, they are not like your music scene, like the pill poppers and all. Like, of course, everyone has done something or the other, but like that's more as a function of being up at like 6 a.m. in the morning or whatever. Then they enjoy their drink. They want their single malts and Jaeger shots, like machine guns happening. So that crowd would always be with me, because that's just my friend. And a lot of these people are lawyers, so journalists. So they were starting to feel the pinch, but at the same time we were also looking to do our own thing, of course, because like मैं यहाँ all the time I'm ducking for cover in my house, like nothing should go wrong. And there the venue, it's not my headache, no, and I'll get paid for it, so
absolutely
win-win, right? So but like the problem with that was that I was employed, so I couldn't take money. So I think like Akshay was basically taking everything at that time. Or like we just did not even make enough to book a profit. We were just like, आता था वो artist को चले जाता था.
Right.
Basically that's what. Like I remember जब हम ट्रांसफॉर्म करते थे तो हमारे को रिकी 35,000 देता था. 35,000 और उसमें मेरे को शिफ्ट को बुक करना है. Almost all of like, and in fact we are probably spending more from our end, so we are losing money to do that as well.
So that's where sponsorships also come in, no?
So like initially when I started looking at sponsors, I tried to understand how this alcohol sponsorship thing works. I really couldn't wrap my head around it, and I'm like, I know my tech brands, I'm going to go to them. And I know everyone there, so, and by that time, after a certain point in time, after like doing Warpcore for a year and a half or two, everyone knew that like I've got this big circle and like throwing parties and all. So they were like always, like they were interested. Of course, you have to make a business case for them also. So I did a lot of things at Times when I was at Times, because I was the country head for PC Mag and Gizmodo, Tech Radar. I could take that decision with the support of my then boss, Thane Richard, who like was like break all the rules. So I would call Huawei up, Honor up. I'm like, okay, let's do this. I got this concept. They were more than happy to collaborate, and then because now that's happening, now I'm learning more how to, do this. And by the time I left Times, I remember we did George Fitzgerald in the Lalit parking lot.
Oh wow.
And Nokia sponsored that party, and that's how I turned Warpcore into a company. Because basically at times also it became a thing that he's got this thing called Warpcore. People didn't know that it wasn't monetized, but like how do you explain to people? And I had some bosses in Bombay. They're like, we've heard that there are 500-600 people. Bombay people को कैसे मैं समझाऊँ कि 500-600 भी कम है
Of course. Of course.
उनको आओ हवेली में
Yeah.
and so I decided to leave Times, which by the way today when I look back at it, bit of regret. It kind of set back my journalism career a bit. Like definitely 1 or 2 years I lost by taking that decision. But on the flip side, if I didn't make that move at that time, Warpcore would be dead at that time.
Okay.
This is in 2019.
Right.
So,
And then after 2019, did COVID change a lot in terms of how the events were being hosted or how you really wanted to go
so
about
I
it?
would say that because at times because we had started this property called PC Mag Live, where we had like done like Avengers themed party with
Yeah.
Apparat, huge as production, Star Wars themed thing with Colin Benders, like worked a lot with Unmute to curate some of these and Sunil particularly. And Akib Vani, he did the Colin Benders, the entire Star Wars theme thing, and then Aman Garg from and Shani, his wife, from Elementor Design, they did the entire Avengers thing with the Thanos portal, and it was crazy stuff.
Yeah.
We would like artist budget is 4 lakh रुपए, production का budget 14 lakh रुपए,
Oh, wow.
and ticket sale 5 lakh रुपए.
How did
But
you cover the
because
cost?
everything was sponsored.
Oh,
Like
that's
Huawei
right.
had sponsored, Honor had sponsored it.
Right.
So like for us to even make back money from tickets, we were kind of looking at it like marketing for the brand.
Right.
So I kind of became like overconfident. अगर मैं इतने करोड़ों रुपए टाइम्स के लिए कर सकता हूँ, अगर थोड़े कम तो मेरे लिए बड़ा अच्छा बिजनेस हो जाएगा.
Yeah.
So, but obviously it did not pan out that way. I got few miracles happened, but 2019 was painful. We basically didn't make money. And then COVID happened, and I was feeling that my journalism career is also falling behind.
Yeah.
But so when COVID happened, I felt that yes, thank God, this stopped.
Yeah. I'm sure.
And then I could focus a little more on my journalism and give breathing space to Warpcore.
Right.
Warpcore like always happened inside. Like I wasn't built to run it full
Right,
time.
right.
And like the more you interact with people in the music scene, the more I dislike them. So
Yeah, I kind of understand the music scene also. मैं भी दिल्ली से थोड़ा दिल्ली छोड़ो के मैंने सिर्फ दिल्ली का देखा है and बॉम्बे का scene भी देखा है. There are not a lot of difference in terms of what is being organized. मतलब बॉम्बे में Bollywood हद से ज़्यादा चलता है. But Delhi का the underground scene में you even got an award pop up. It was the best pop up.
yeah, like so we got best pop-up award in 2017, 18 and 19.
Oh wow.
So Inca. So उसमें भी बहुत funny story है. 2017 में सितंबर 17 में हुआ था ये. मैं कोचीन में था और मेरे दोस्त इशारा और विजय की वेडिंग थी. तो मेरा तो मूड ही मैं बोला ये क्या है, मेरी बेसमेंट पार्टी के लिए अवार्ड क्यों मिल रहा है मुझे, ये मेरे घर की पार्टी है. मैंने what the hell is this nonsense?
Yeah.
So I was like मैं नहीं जाना. and anyways I couldn't also because I'm in Cochin.
Right.
So first one तो I didn't go. Turns out some lot of people who have now become very good friends of mine, colleagues who were on the jury like Dave Bhatia, Divij Kaul,
Right.
and like Dave is my neighbor. Divij is like a brother to me. So I'm probably closer to his wife than him. So who always tries to set me up on dates with girls because she wants me to get married, but I would not what.
Yeah.
So basically they nominated us. Like they are talking ki kaun si best party hai, and like other names are getting popped up, but they were like, but the best one is actually Warpcore. But they're like, that's not an
It's not a
yeah, but then
official.
they pimped it, and then next thing I know we got it. They got really pissed that I didn't come. Now 2018 में वापस मिल गया. This time वो best in Delhi नहीं, वो best in India भी था.
Oh wow.
हाँ, so उसमें अब I wanted to pull another no-show stunt.
Yeah.
This time around, Dhamija and Rajvedya put their foot down. They are like, कि
जाना तो पड़ेगा.
तेरे को तो जाना पड़ेगा.
Yeah.
मैं बोला तुम चले जाओ. I remember Rajvedya like looking like a fucking, I don't know, like a drug lord or whatever, like pimped out, like a character out of GTA San Andreas or something like that. And Dhamija with his humongous beard.
Yeah.
Which wasn't grey at that time. So, so we went, got the award, and yeah, like schmoozing. In 2019, they asked me to pay for the award.
Hmm.
मैं बोला fuck this, मैं नहीं कर रहा. Told them, मैंने पोस्ट भी डाल दिया उसके बारे में.
Yeah.
मेरे को कोई अवार्ड नहीं चाहिए. मेरे को तो कभी चाहिए ही नहीं था.
I mean, ये award के लिए तो I did figure कि
तो
award
मैं घर
नहीं
की
कर.
पार्टी कर रहा था. So yeah, but like by 2019 we had turned into a legend. Like we were throwing parties outside also. So
Yeah.
but yeah, उसके बाद से नहीं मिला award.
Yeah. I mean, you've been hosting parties for 9 years now.
Yeah.
So it's a lot of experience of going broke, of losing so much cash, and sometimes making money, getting big artists, and
Yeah.
you understand the dynamics of how things
Yeah.
are being worked out. So now, I mean, setting aside Warpcore and everything, now that whole understanding of the music industry,
Yeah.
what do you, for anybody who wants to start organizing events, because I've tried my hand, I failed. It was a loss-making kind of a business for me. It did not make
Warpcore
money.
is still loss making.
Yeah, I'm sure. Like, it's not easy. You need continuous sponsorship. There's so much networking you have to do. It's so much time spent.
Yeah.
And you somehow managed to do it with a day job, which is not an easy job, right? And
White hair, lot of white hair because of Warpcore.
man, there's
Yeah.
no hair here.
Yeah.
But yeah, so
Yeah.
but yeah, I completely get it. And but if somebody wants to join and start organizing events, do you think it's a good idea? Right?
Don't do it.
Right?
Don't do it. You know, like starting events is like liking to have glass every day, like broken glass as lunch,
Yeah.
because you're going to get cut from inside bit by bit. And the reason for that is when you started, you become very cool. Everyone will want to be your friend, but they will also turn on you. They will, the same people will turn on you, and it becomes a very thankless thing. And unless you are not rolling in money, don't do it.
Right.
Simple as that. It's a privileged person's thing, and like I was privileged enough where I stay. I didn't, earn it, like so I just got born into it, and like relatively well off, and like I've got a well-paying job, so I could do it.
Right.
I could do it. Should I have done it? I said probably not, because I'm like in a fit of rage against my friends.
Yeah.
Like if I look at the math of it, I would have probably blown in crores.
I'm sure.
Yeah.
I'm sure over the years,
Yeah.
I mean, the kind of parties you hosted for sure, those are not normal parties. They were thematic, they were grand, and they had
Yeah.
great artists. And
Yeah.
I don't think you were charging the crowd
No, we never.
Like-
So there was a very simple rule.
the BYOB.
The BYOB to tha hi, but and I wanted it to be like as legal as possible.
Right.
So BYOB also, like I would supremely discourage any liquor coming out of Gurgaon. We would have this elaborate band system also. Okay, like if you've got absolute vodka, you get a certain class of band. You've got like super expensive stuff, which I absolutely discourage. I'm like, this is not the party where you want to open a bottle of Lagavulin.
Yeah.
Do not bring anything upwards of a Jameson.
Right.
Please don't.
Right.
Like that's good enough for everyone, right? And if you're getting like just old monk, तो तुम्हारे को old monk का band मिलेगा. तो ठर्रा लाओगे तो और अगर फ्यूल वगैरह लाए तो वो या मैजिक मोमेंट्स हो अपने पास ही रखो, हम ग्लास दे देंगे तुम्हारे को और मिक्सर भी ले लो तुम. हमारे को बाहर में चाहिए ही नहीं, क्योंकि बाकी लोग को मैजिकल मोमेंट्स नहीं होने चाहिए. So yeah.
And yeah, I mean, privilege is definitely a point that I wanted to kind of stick to, because there are so many musicians and artists also. I mean, you've seen the artist culture also. कि कैसे type of musicians are being successful.
All the rich ones, basically.
That's what I also kind of saw.
Yeah.
Right? Everybody who comes from money, it's easier for them to kind of.
Money makes money.
That's true. That's true. So how does any artist even go about it? Either you start a day job or something which funds your,
I think that
music
is
career.
day job is absolutely a must.
Right.
In fact, I would like to take an example of an artist that probably doesn't come from a lot of means but has done really decently for himself is Jay Pai.
Okay.
I remember I interviewed him once when I was Gizmodo's editor. He was an instructor at ILM,
Oh, okay.
the DJ school by Arjun Wagle and Nakul Wagle. So, वहाँ से what he's come and become, he doesn't drink. He's like absolutely clean, like sweetest person, humble, incredible creative energy, just damn good musician, simple as that. So, yeah, he's a good example, but they're not very great examples. I mean, like even like look at Blot also. He used to be a lawyer, so a corporate lawyer that too. So he had to give up that job eventually, but he did that transition over time.
Yeah.
So yeah, even for me, like Warpcore is only sustainable if I have my day job. If I don't have my day job, I can't do Warpcore. Simple as that. Because what happens is, I have one successful show. Like last night, we had a great gig. Thankfully, made money in it.
Yeah.
But I know that, like I got 3 failures and then I got one good one. And even if I got 3 consecutive good gigs, वो एक failure इतना बड़ा हो जाता है कि it kills you basically.
Right. वो मतलब उसको break even करने में time लग जाता है.
And the other problem is the lack of professionalism in the music scene. सब कुछ WhatsApp पे हो रहा होता है. There is no emailing, there are no contracts. Like it's not done. Like it's a scene. It's not an industry.
Yeah.
So the other problem is that artists themselves, they don't help themselves. They're impatient, petulant at times. So it becomes very difficult to work with them at times. Like even if you're regularly giving them a lot of business, you know, there are a lot of gigs where you just get paid 10K. I know that 10K you would probably expect immediately. But, you know, like if you're in the corporate sector, no payment gets done overnight.
Yeah.
Simple as that. Like you have to do a vendor registration form. You have to go through a 45-day, 30-day payment cycle, whatever was decided.
Yeah.
And there is a process to things. एक side में you have got these venues who are trying to operate in cash. वो basically जो भी
Black money
को उसको जो भी वो कैश आए बुक्स में दिखाते नहीं है, ऐसे ये सारे खर्चे निकाल देते हैं उससे. एंड आर्टिस्ट को भी थोड़ा बहुत उनकी आदतें उसकी वजह से खराब हो गई हैं. और ये सिचुएशन है ना काफ़ी ज़्यादा और ज़्यादा प्रॉब्लमेटिक हो गया है पोस्ट पैंडेमिक. बिकॉज सी प्री पैंडेमिक UPI उतना prevalent नहीं था. People would use their credit card, people would use a lot of cash. I'm like literally I don't have a single rupee in my wallet right now.
Likewise. Yeah.
Right. So now those venues are not able to generate that cash. So they have become stingier.
Right.
I will not name the venue, but like everyone can tell it's the famous, if you know Delhi's Aurobindo market area, then you know what venues I'm talking about.
Yeah.
So spoiler alert. So what they do is that you get money in the shadiest possible ways, and that's why we don't work with them anymore. Because I don't want that dirty money coming in my bank account.
Right.
You know, like say if it's a 50,000 rupee payment and I'm doing a monthly gig there. Okay. So say today is X day, like say 2nd of January. Assume it's not 2nd of January.
Yeah.
But they'll say कि gig के बाद में payment मिल जाएगी, of course. And because I come from a corporate background, तो मेरे पास तो बहुत है personal constitution है कि that I can absorb it.
Yeah.
But the artist is like haranguing me, so like he's harassing me literally. So I'm waiting. अब आएंगे वो 50,000 में से probably 20 या 25,000 रुपए आएंगे one day before my next gig.
Oh, right.
Okay. अब वो 25,000 भी कैसे आते हैं? 2,000 रुपए कोई वेजिटेबल सेलर से आ रहे हैं, 5,000 रुपए मोची से आ रहे हैं, ऐसे ऐसे करके इट्स लाइक व्हाट द फक इज गोइंग.
So weird, man.
एंड और वो व्हाट्सएप मैसेज में लिखेगा कि हमने 25 ट्रांसफर किया, मगर असल में 23,570 रुपए ट्रांसफर किए, तो वहाँ भी चिंदी चोरी की जा रही है. एंड देन ऑब्वियसली नाउ नेक्स्ट डे इज माई नेक्स्ट गिग, उसके भी पैसे नहीं आए. अब तो वो एक ऐसे करके लॉन्ग स्टैंडिंग EMI बना देते हैं उसको विदाउट इंटरेस्ट. ऑब्वियसली उल्टा मेरा डेप्रिसिएशन हो रहा होता है ऐसे करके. सो दिस इज हाउ लॉट ऑफ द वेन्यूज वर्क. एंड माई request to everyone is get a GST and invoice every damn thing. Every artist, my plea to you is do not let venues to pay you in cash. Do not. Because firstly, if they don't pay you, no, you can't do anything about it.
Yeah.
Because cash is illegal. So, काय का complaint करोगे? Facebook पे post डालोगे, Instagram पे post डालोगे. Only you can cry about it there. You will get some hate towards the venue का business चल रहा है, लोग जाएंगे तब भी वहाँ, right? Venue बंद नहीं होने वाला. Stop working in cash.
I mean, क्योंकि इतना बड़ा अमाउंट भी नहीं जा रहा कि तुम टैक्सेशन के लिए वरी
या क्योंकि अगर वो 10,000 का है तो वो वैसे ही है, मगर वो they are doing it at scale, no, but
absolutely, yeah. But the artist, I don't think there's anything to lose अगर वो इतना.
But like you once you get a GST and all, like you basically legitimize what you're doing also.
Right.
And then तुम्हारे को यू लर्न सो मच यार. तुम खुद का इनवॉइस बनाते हो, टैक्स फाइल करोगे, तुम्हारे को फिर देखोगे तुम्हारे को GST इनपुट क्रेडिट मिलता है, बहुत सारे एडवांटेजेस होते हैं.
बिजनेस एस्पेक्ट समझ भी आता है.
एग्जैक्टली.
एंड देन यू कैन स्टैंड फॉर द थिंग्स दैट आर बीइंग डन रॉन्ग. अगर कैश है तो क्या ही कर पाओगे.
या लाइक मतलब कि आई वाज इन दिस bad situation with some of these venues where we had long standing associations. Came a point last year of just my like last year we did a gig, we lost a lot of money, so I was like nahi karna abhi aur.
That's very interesting. Yeah, like I think even as a personal, मैं अपने personal experience से बता सकता हूँ कि मैंने कोशिश किया था. I went to Bombay 3 साल जब when you said 2017 17 to 19 में Warpcore नहीं आ पाया था because I was in Bombay and I was trying to do my own thing and I was working with a venue जो हमें देगा, मतलब they'll give us what 25,000 rupees for a gig. उसमें मेरे को 2 आर्टिस्ट आने, 3 आर्टिस्ट आने हैं, उनको कन्विंस करो.
कोई 10-10 में हो गया.
10,000 वो भी अच्छे आर्टिस्ट को हम कन्विंस करते, भाई you're my friend, come काजा, बहुत अच्छा गिग होगा, ये होगा, लोग आ रहे हैं, whatever. And then we'll take home what like 4-5,000 a week. And Bombay में नहीं खर्चा चलता. So I realized that there's something that needs to be much healthier from either the venue side or the artist side. I believe whatever you told me right now, that key invoicing, treating your music, your whole identity of musician as a business, it definitely is going to like improve the whole this thing. But any other kind of advice that you see for the music industry, at least Joe, what you've seen around, to make it a little healthier in terms of financial transparency?
I feel contracts. Contracts, like just not invoicing. I think even if it's you're getting 5,000 rupees, you should get into contract.
But then then everybody has to do it, because when you would be like, "Bhai, meko, I don't want to get into this. I have more 100."
Exactly. That's how it. But you know, somewhere you need to start.
Yeah.
So, if one person watches this and starts doing this, I'll be more than happy.
Yeah, absolutely. And but the community effect, I think it's going to make a lot more sense.
Of course.
Otherwise, it's very tough to achieve this. And yeah, man. Like, but Sahil Mohan Gupta, I know it for a fact that like there've been a bad rep because Sahil parties में आने नहीं देता था लोगों को.
तुम्हारे को भी,
मेरे को भी. मुझे भी 2-3 बार एक्चुअली मना करा हुआ है.
4-5 बार.
जब जिस दिन मैंने इवेंट्स करना शुरू करा, that's when I realized, okay, I get his point. कि भाई सबको नहीं आने दे सकते. You can't let everybody in. And even sometimes when they are friends and they're not adhering to the rules and regulations of that event that you're hosting, then it just doesn't make sense. You can't, dosti yaari mein, you can't make the whole event go kind of bad. So have you had incidents where people are so pissed off with you, your friends maybe or non-friends, where it's like threatening, life-threatening kind of thing? Ki bhai, right? What's the worst event that you remember?
I think the worst thing I cannot talk about publicly.
Right.
But because that was really bad.
Right.
But the one that happened was really funny.
Yeah.
and it basically backfired on the person only. And
Yeah.
I'll not name the person,
Right.
but so there was this guy who kind of like I was friends with him also. In fact, he was the owner of Zootish, where we started the idea of
Right.
Warpcore.
Right.
So he kind of was a regular at the parties in the early days and all. But you know, typical Delhi vibe कि आ गए अपनी दारू लेके अपनी लड़कियों के साथ में वगैरह जो भी whatever you doing.
Yeah.
And you know, like when I'm doing this like 400 500 people party, but everyone is a friend, no,
Right.
like,
Absolutely.
rules have to be same for everyone. सारे ही दोस्त हैं.
Right.
Like a huge extension of it is my friend circle actually. So now we were very strict on the bar. The bar had very strict rules. Like it was a BYOB, it was a community bar basically. And we won't allow anyone inside the bar. You put your drink there and you'll get an appropriate band. Like ठीक है, हो सकता है कि तुम जेमेसन लाए हो, तुम्हारे को अच्छा बैंड दे दिया, मगर जेमेसन कोई और पी गया, तुम्हारा ब्लैक लेबल नहीं.
Right.
Not a bad deal.
Not a bad deal.
Yeah, but like people are like, some people कुछ ज़्यादा ही 30 मार खान होते हैं कि वो ऐसी पार्टी में ले आते हैं सिंगल मॉल्ट जैसे लफ्रॉय वगैरह ले आते हैं.
Yeah.
फिर बोलते हैं वो पीछे है ना कबर्ड में छुपाओ. अब ऑब्वियसली कम्युनिटी बार है, वो निकल जाती है कभी कभी. हुआ है बहुत बार. एंड दिस हैज बीन अ कांस्टेंट कंप्लेंट आल्सो
Right.
of that idea. But this is the most equal way I can do things. Otherwise, I can't operate
I
at
think
state.
their expectations is wrong.
Yeah. So
Wrong.
this gentleman would often encroach into the bar.
Hmm.
And he's doing this for months and months. Party after party उसको मना किया जा रहा है कि मत कर मत कर मत कर. One day धमीजा and Akshay came to me कि अगली बार इसने किया ना, हम तो उसकी दारू फेंक देंगे, उसको बाहर फेंक देंगे.
सही बात है.
हाँ, तो एक बार हो गया कांड.
Hmm.
हो गया कि वहाँ इन लोग में थोड़ा नीडल हो गया. मेरे से असल में नहीं हुआ था नीडल,
Right.
विच इज द फनी बिट.
Yeah.
मेरे साथ झगड़ा नहीं हुआ था. सो नेक्स्ट पार्टी में मेरे को बोल दिया गया था कि इसको मत भेज, इनको नहीं बुलाना अगली बार से, सीधा कि झगड़ा नहीं करेंगे इनके साथ में. अब झेल लिया, मैं अगली बार इसको चपेड़ा मार दूंगा, बुलाऊंगी मत.
Right.
अब आई एम सेंडिंग द ब्रॉडकास्ट मैसेज वगैरह, वो गलती से मैंने
अच्छा,
उसको डिलीट नहीं किया, उसको मैंने तो आ गया वापस.
हाँ.
वापस वही पुरानी हरकत है. दिस टाइम हो गया झगड़ा. एंड इस टाइम पे दिस इज हैपनिंग व्हेन medieval पंडित्स आर प्लेइंग इन द बेसमेंट.
Oh.
एंड वो बोले कि इसको बाहर निकाल. सो दिस गाय एंड हिज ब्रदर इज कॉलिंग मी, बोले कि वी वांट टू हियर दिस फ्रॉम साहिल. अब लाइक मैं बोला एंड दिस धमीजा दिया कि या तो वो या मैं.
Of course.
तो मैं
Obviously.
शुड आई डू. सो अब लाइक तो मैं बोला प्लीज अभी चले जाओ.
Yeah.
फिर we'll talk about it and we'll resolve it also. Obviously, they had no intent of resolving it. 2 parties later, I now notice the cops are ringing. Cops के वो पुलिस के ऊपर आई जा रही है. लाइक 6 PSR आ गई है बाहर. एंड में तो SHO ही आ गया. क्यों वो कॉल करे जा रहा है उनको कि लाइक मेरे नेबर पार्टी थ्रो कर रहा है, वो मेरी नेबरहुड में रहता भी नहीं है. तो बोल कंप्लेन बेसिकली फेक कंप्लेन कर रहे हैं. नाउ ऑब्वियसली I am also pretty connected.
Right.
My mom threw out the cops a couple of times.
Yes.
And like this was when Blot was playing.
I remember.
So this is that infamous.
Yeah.
So my mom threw out the cops. And then बाहर like a lot of the lawyer friends are, they are also talking to the cops कि हम लोग कुछ गलत तो कर नहीं रहे हैं वगैरह, हम लोग अपना हाउस पार्टी कर रहे हैं, किसी को डिस्टर्ब नहीं हो रहा. Where if anyone has come to Warpcore, see the complex, the entire complex is ours.
Right.
So I can only disturb my own tenants,
Yeah.
who are by the way at the parties. so basically we're disturbing no one. And it's in a basement which is soundproof. So we have like gone to extreme pains that we do not disturb anyone. It's not to keep it like hidden and all of that. It's just not to disturb people. We can do our own thing without disturbing people. It's all about that. And this person kept calling the cops. वो solve होता था, फिर वापस वो कोई इंस्टाग्राम पे स्टोरी डालता था, वो देख के वापस फोन घुमाने लग जाता था, तो आ जाते. एंड में तो SHO ही आ गया. SHO ने बोला कि यार बंद कर दो, हाँ तुम अपना पार्टी करो और हम जा रहे हैं. और उन्होंने बोला कि और अभी के लिए ना मेरे को CD प्लेयर्स दे दो, कल सुबह थाने से उठा लेना.
Wow.
हाँ थाने से उठा लेना CD प्लेयर्स. एंड यू लाइक कि मैं दे दूंगा तुम्हारे को, ऐसा
Right.
नहीं है
But that's
कि
legit.
जस्ट टू मेक श्योर दैट यू डोंट प्ले.
Right.
सो एंड अदरवाइज अगर आप प्ले करते रहोगे तो मतलब कि आप रख लो CD प्लेयर्स, मगर एक भी कंप्लेन आई तो फिर मैं फुल एक्शन लूंगा. तो वी लाइक what to do वगैरह, and we are negotiating, and these guys again started playing अंदर. While we are negotiating अंदर, वो Lord started playing. He was convinced to play. He was actually leaving. He got shouted at by my mom while leaving. So it just happened while we were negotiating with the cops, and like this person again called the SHO, and I saw his name on Truecaller. वो कॉप के फोन पे ट्रू कॉलर में, चलो भैया देखते हैं कॉलोनी में ये भाई साहब का घर किधर. तो ऑब्वियसली देन द कॉप वाज चलो यार, लाइक हम लोगों को थोड़ा खाना वाना खिला दो, तो पिज्जा विज्जा वो अंदर से के खिला दिया उनको, एंड देन दे लेफ्ट. एंड द फनी थिंग इज इट वाज अ मैजिकल पार्टी आफ्टर दैट. लाइक देयर वर ओनली लाइक 150-200 people left, but like that was the right amount at 4-5 a.m. in the morning. We went till like 8-8:30. Couple of friends were like inviting me at 8:30 in the morning कि चल हमारे साथ गुड़गांव एक और पार्टी के लिए. And in hindsight, I wish I had gone for that thing, because couple of hours later I slept, I woke up, had this huge as post on Facebook, go to my first floor, having lassi, on a call with my friend Vaibhav Goswami, who was complaining about Nishank because he did not let someone in at the entry as always. And I'm leaning against my railing on the first floor ka balcony, soaking in on the dhoop and all, and the hangover. And by the way, the next night I am to fly to New York for a OnePlus 5T launch.
Wow.
So that night itself I was supposed to fly, and my dog Jackie, who's here, he just recently passed away. My oldest dog. So he's in the garden. He's been locked the entire night, and a lot of commotion had been happening. So now he's full of energy. वो भागते भागते ऊपर आ गया. मैं फोन पे lean कर रहा हूँ, and I'm having this lassi that my mom got to get rid of my hangover. He jumps, and I go down into the garden, and I break my femur into 2 pieces.
Right.
So literally, I had just gotten the iPhone 10 for the review, and like I'm like looking at my iPhone, ऐसे करके reach out कर रहा हूँ, and I messaged the OnePlus corporate communications head Anubhav Prakash, who by the way had come for the party the night before. Like, I think I've done something to my leg. I don't think I'll be able to make it to New York.
Damn.
So, yeah.
It would have been beneficial if you would have gone to that Gurgaon party. शायद नहीं होता.
Obviously, tongue नहीं टूटती. अभी भी 2 rods लगी हुई हैं.
Oh, really? Oh, मेरे को नहीं पता था. बहुत serious.
I light up like a Christmas tree on security check.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Shit. I had no idea. भाई ये तो काफी intense भी है.
Yeah.
But this has been honestly really interesting, man. Like I think मेरे को जो सवाल पूछे थे तुमने already वो cover कर लिया ना. I'm really glad that you did, because it's very important for people to understand कि how the music scene is really happening. I mean, industry मैं बोलना चाहता हूँ. मैं भी कब से बोल रहा हूँ. मेरी जब बात हुई थी साहिल से, उसने पहले बोला था भाई इंडस्ट्री नहीं है, scene चल रहा है अभी.
Yeah.
So that's what I was very curious about understanding कि क्या, why did you say that? And I get a clarity that I think there are a lot of things that needs to be changed for this to evolve. Like, and
I very honestly, I don't enjoy doing Warpcore.
right, I was going to ask also.
I've over the years, like वो होता है ना, जंग लग गया है मेरे पे. Like I'm like I know too much.
Is there something else you want to probably do with Warpcore or something else?
I would probably, so next year we are going to turn 10.
Yeah.
I want to probably like turn 10, end it on a high, and retire.
Yeah, that's fair enough. I mean, 10 years is a great. Great.
So I mean, like I've had, I need that red rag, and right now I don't have that red rag to continue beyond 10. Like I don't know in the next till next August if there's a new red rag that I get. We have a relationship with a couple of brands, so I will complete those obligations, and well, that's the only way we have been making money, and then I'm going to just fully retire from Warpcore, not the other thing. And I've always loved my day job more than Warpcore.
Right.
Warpcore became like I can be very honest about it, was more of an ego thing that I can do it, so I'm doing it. It's not like I want to do it also.
No. Yeah.
And the other thing is, the good thing is that, like, particularly in the last 6 or 7 months, I've gone back to live music.
Right.
I wasn't an electronic music person inherently. I'm also a guitar player, so like
Yeah.
I love my live music more. So like I've been enjoying working with Piano Man. Actually, I want to say something for Piano Man and Arjun. I hear a lot of things in the industry about him that, you know, like they don't pay that well or whatever.
Yeah.
But here's the thing: they are the most professional lot out there. If you don't agree with the amount you're getting, then don't agree, don't play, right? But they do everything in voice. They do it everything clean, transparently. It's been the most professional experience working in music for me. And there's some other places that they do a nice job. Like Social is in, like I'm basically coming back to जहाँ जहाँ invoice कटते हैं वही वही बात कर रहा हूँ मैं. But like, you know, like if anyone comes to the Eldeco Center, Piano Man, like the scale, scope, the vision for the venue, it's incredible. And like it's not a business decision.
Yeah.
It's like it takes heart to do it, and it costs a lot to do it.
Yeah.
So like he has his own limitations also, and you know, like we've had a great collaborative relationship in the last, like, through 2024, and yeah, that's kind of revived Warpcore a bit, because like I enjoy working with them. But otherwise, like I'm like pretty close to retirement. I have a couple of bucket list tracks that I want to do.
Yeah.
I'll do them at Piano Man, maybe the odd electronic one, and then I'll
Right.
not sure short 10 years exactly could
Yeah,
get
it could
extended.
be anything. I mean, this is just
Yeah.
you're talking right now,
Yeah.
understanding what you feel right now. But
Yeah.
for me, I think he's absolutely right. Your El Deco Piano Man is one of the best live venues I've seen.
Yeah.
The amount of work that is put into that venue in terms of just the woodwork to make it acoustically sound amazing, and like the speakers, how they actually adjusted and got the, you know, kind of basses down a bit. They hung it a little lower to
Yeah.
make it sound even better. And I attended a gig where just my love for live events it was always there, but
Was
it
this
got
the Capital
revived.
Medal one?
Oh my God, yes. The Capital Medal Project gig.
Yeah.
I was so happy. I was
Yeah.
so happy. And I think even
you have
when,
Shashank also on the
yeah,
podcast.
yeah, exactly. And I was really happy to see that it's coming back. There's a comeback that's
Yeah.
happening right now with the live scene, right? And
I mean, like, I've kind of made this my thing that like I'm going to get bands from when I was in college.
Yes.
There were the popular big bands, and I'm going to like one-off gigs. Let's do it.
Man, I will
So
be-
I'm trying to make that my thing, because it makes me very happy also. You know what? It actually makes money also.
yeah, it
Yeah,
does.
it does make
Absolutely.
money. It
And
makes more money than electronic music.
yeah, and just the venues. If you do it in a smaller scale, then the venues make more money, or it makes more money.
It
in
depends how
electronics.
you like,
Okay.
like the maths
programming.
changes from venue to venue. But yeah, like I come from that live background, so that it was an itch that I always had to scratch. And like if you go back in time and notice all the Warpcore anniversary parties, there's been some live going on.
Yeah.
Because I never wanted Warpcore after a certain point, after I had like kind of achieved my Delhi Underfound
Yeah.
wala thing ki okay, now I know electronic music wala thing. I was like ki, okay, we are not all about electronic music, so it was very important. Well, you know, like the funny thing is that you were telling me that Rijul had also come over.
Yeah.
So I know Rijul for a very long time.
Right.
I know him since probably 2006 or 7.
Way before. Yeah.
वो उस टाइम पे PJDAV कॉलेज में होता था.
हाँ.
Okay, and I did my first year in the Alsing. And so he used to come to my house through this common friend called Sarthak Bhatia. They were like same उसके कॉलेज में थे, तो वो आके मेरे गिटार्स चेकआउट करता था. तो he had seen the basement before anyone
Yeah.
न्यू अबाउट. एंड रिजुल को मैंने 2006-7 में बोला था मैं कुछ करूंगा इस बेसमेंट में,
Yeah.
स्टूडियो बना दूंगा उसको वगैरह. एंड इट कल्मिनेटेड इन Warpcore.
Yeah.
एंड मी एंड रिजुल कीप हैविंग दिस कन्वर्सेशन कि लाइक तूने मेरे को इस टाइम पे बोला था.
Right. And there's so much money also spent in that basement. I've seen like so much soundproofing. You
Yeah.
have to fix the windows and
Yeah. Like, I mean, like still it's a work in progress.
yeah.
I like it's in for a huge renovation.
Okay.
So I have an idea of like I've been like talking about this huge renovation for a while, but just haven't found the time to get it done. Because now I stay in the basement myself also. So
Yeah. But very interesting, yeah. I think we would love to have some Warpcore live events, because even the Warpcore live that you did in the basement once, I think twice you've done it, right?
No, actually more
Okay.
times.
Okay, I was not here maybe.
We've done
so.
like thermal and a quarter, half step down.
Right, yeah. But very interesting, yeah. Like, really interesting to learn more about you, Sahil. And thank you so much for just taking out the time, coming
Cheers,
here,
man.
and it means honestly a lot.
Cheers.
Thank you so
Cheers.
much. And yeah, I hope people, whoever is listening, got some idea about what to really do when you're getting into the whole music industry. Um, as a musician or an organizer, or if you're starting a venue, there are a lot of things that work and some of the things that don't work, right? So just know what you really want to do, want to achieve, and do it the right way, because I think that's the only way to really make yourself sustainable. That's my take on this. But thank you so much for listening in for another episode of Track Talk. And Sahil, thank you so much. Until next time, cheers and peace out. Thank you.
Cheers.
Bye bye.